Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Sports Scene by NGTV. Um, First of all, Premier League is back, finally.
Praise.
Club football, because I've got to say, watching England, I actually fell asleep during the Poland game. I was that
Yeah,
bored.
they've all been a bit
So
boring, haven't they?
yeah, I actually fell asleep, which I never do watching football. Um, but yeah, Premier League's back. Obviously, I think the place to start is the big news coming out of Man City. Um, Sergio Aguero is to leave Man City at the end of the season when his contract expires. Just a few moments to share about Aguero. He's got the best minutes to goal ratio in Premier League history. He's got the most goals by a foreign player, 181 goals in 271 games. He's had the most Player of the Month awards in Premier League history. Obviously, we've got the Aguero moment, which clinched City the first title. He's just been. I think he's been honoured with the statue as well. I think, along with Company and David Silva. I don't think they've mentioned when they're gonna put them up or anything like that,
I
but
think.
they have mentioned that there's gonna be a statue.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I don't know. I'd want to say I'm gutted, to be honest. I know he hasn't played much this year, and he does get injured quite a lot these days. But what a player he's been.
Yeah, it's always hard when like a club legend walks away from the club in the end. Um, it's like with United when Rooney went. It was sad because even though he was coming towards the end of his career and he probably wasn't performing at the level you'd expect him to perform at, it's still a club legend going. And then I suppose the added like little boot is the fact that he might stay in England. You might end up having to play against him next season.
Yeah, I think that could be a possibility. I'd say it's all it's new, isn't it? So there's going to be loads of speculation. I'd like to think he wouldn't go to another English team. I wouldn't begrudge him if I know that Barcelona are rumoured to be interested in him, and I think his hometown team. I can't say it in Independente or something like that.
Yeah,
Something
some
along those
Argentinian team
lines. Yeah, they're rumoured to want him to bring him back there and stuff like that. So probably be interesting to obviously to monitor it the next few weeks. But I'm hoping he doesn't go to another English team.
Yeah.
But I know that I read that Chelsea were very interested in signing him. But I say the only unfortunate thing about him these days is he does pick up knocks quite a bit now. So that's that could possibly stop interest from like teams and stuff like that. But I mean, you're getting him on like a free transfer, so why not?
Yeah, the only monetary risk is the wages, and this late in his career now, he's probably not going to demand as high a wage as he would have traditionally.
Yeah, yeah. As I say, it's all on him now, isn't it? I think there was a rumor that City had a meeting with him and basically said we're going to sign a striker this summer. So you're going to be like a bit part player, bench player, and it was basically up to him whether he wanted to obviously stay and do that or leave. And he obviously chose to leave and maybe get first team football elsewhere. And like I said, he's 32 now, so maybe he's thinking like this is
Towards the end
his
of
last
his career,
chance. Yeah, his last chance to maybe get first team football, playing week in week out if he can obviously keep himself fit. But yeah, not the best news for City, but hopefully he goes out on a high. He's gonna hopefully at least have the Premier League trophy, and then hopefully we can get some more trophies to obviously see him out. Obviously, moving on from that, the next news, well, the next transfer news, if you can call it, is that Erling Haaland's representatives, so his agents, Mino Raiola and his father, Alfie Haaland, went to Spain yesterday. They first met with Barcelona, and then they flew to Madrid and met with Real Madrid representatives as well. Apparently, they're flying to England today to meet with multiple English clubs: Man City, Man United. I think it's Liverpool and Chelsea. So probably read into that as you will, really. Are they going around to see which club can maybe put a deal together? Apparently Dortmund want at least 130 million.
Yeah, so like 157 million euros or something.
Yeah, so I think they want like a big fee. When Mino Raiola is your agent, he typically takes a large amount of money as well.
Yeah.
To obviously bring his player to the club. So that'll probably be getting spoken about. So I'd imagine they'd be speaking about obviously if the club can afford obviously the transfer package, and then speak about like the wages and what the club can offer. Obviously he wants to go out there and win trophies.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they're going to be speaking about obviously the club's future and stuff like that. There's probably a lot of things to speak about, but I think there was talk yesterday to say that he's got his heart set on either Real Madrid or Barcelona.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously not confirmed, but that's probably what every player says, really, isn't it? They want to play for Real Madrid, Barcelona.
So, yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how that goes. Where do you think you can see him playing his football next year, if a club can match obviously the asking price?
I think we could probably see him going to Barcelona, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see him go to a City or something like that. I think United have got a hard time, you know, traditionally don't have the greatest relationship with his agent, so, you know, there's that. Like, he basically said, I think he said the other day in Spanish papers, like, I don't give a shit if I never make another deal with Man United in my life, as far as I'm concerned, so that's not an ideal starting situation for us, but I guess
I think he's got a good relationship with obviously with Ollie though, hasn't he? Obviously he like managed him at Molde in Norway, so he kind of knows him anyway. So maybe that could like even itself out, maybe.
Possibly. But then, you know, there's arguments for everywhere. You know, his dad's got the history of City and stuff like that. You know, there's the pictures of him wearing a City shirt as a kid and stuff like that. So you can't really rule anything out at the moment. That's the thing. And he doesn't seem like he's coming out and saying this one team. He's basically at some point has mentioned every team. Like, he's being really clever about it, to be honest.
Yeah. Personally, I can't see him going to either Liverpool or Chelsea.
No, I don't see him going there.
He has mentioned Chelsea in the press before, and actually said that he doesn't see them as a big club.
Did you see his statement about Arsenal?
Yeah.
With the ringtone.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So he kind of ruled out the Chelsea transfer, but Chelsea's obviously still interested. I mean, who wouldn't? I don't think Liverpool couldn't afford over 2 million for the centre half in January. So I don't see, unless they sell like one of their front three for big money, I can't see them going in for Haaland either.
They're also currently like deeply invested in getting this other centre back for like 30 million, aren't they?
Yeah. So if Liverpool don't really go out and spend money without making money.
Yeah. So
the only two teams I can see from England that would go out and spend that type of money would either be City or United.
Yeah.
So, as I say, it all depends obviously on the club situation, isn't it, really? But you probably have to put either Real Madrid or Barcelona as probably the favourites to sign him.
Yeah, almost definitely. They always have been, haven't they? They're the European powerhouses. They're the ones that always rake in the massive transfers or send them out. You know, as we've seen with like Neymar and Coutinho and stuff like that. You know, hundreds of millions between those guys seems to be nothing. So
I say, yeah. I mean, I think looking at it, obviously being a City fan, we don't really, although we've spent a lot within the squad, we don't spend a lot on one player.
Yeah.
So we've never spent over 65 million for one player. So it would be completely different to how we operate normally. But the likes of Barcelona, you know, they've signed like Dembele for like 140 million before, and they've signed Coutinho for like 130 million.
Yeah,
So they're
it's
not
nothing
shy
to
into
them,
like, yeah. So they've done it before. So why won't they do it again? Like this would be something new for. Although City can afford to do it, they just haven't done
but
that before.
yeah,
They'd rather spend like buy 3 or 4 players for like 140, 150
yeah,
mil rather than just on like one player. So it'll be interesting to see how they like obviously go about that. But for me, yeah, I would probably say the favourite is probably to go obviously go to Spain. I think.
yeah, you would have to think so.
Well, obviously moving on from then going from with us saying that Premier League is back. For me, I don't know whether you agree. We are doing the watch along for it, but I've certainly said that the game of the weekend is probably Leicester versus Man City.
Yeah,
First versus third. City need 4 more wins to clinch the title. So hopefully, well, for me anyway, hopefully that's done in the next 4 games, and then we can completely concentrate on like the Champions League and stuff. But it's going to be a tough game. Leicester beat City 5-2 at the Etihad early in the season.
yeah,
I think Leicester have got a pretty good record against Man City. Actually, obviously we play into their hands a little bit. Obviously they like to try and counter attack, and obviously we keep the ball and have a high line. So Jamie Vardy usually does get a lot of success against us. So I think it'll be an interesting game.
yeah. And if John Stones is on his England ship giving people the ball and stuff like that at the back, then ain't nobody need that.
No.
It's a big game for United as well, obviously, because we can't catch you. Like, regardless of whether you need 4 to win the title, you've won the title. We're not catching you, so you'd do us a solid by beating Leicester and us picking up the win against Brighton on Sunday, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean we'll obviously come to the United game.
Yeah,
A little bit later on. But yeah, I feel it'd be interesting to see if Pep does throw John Stones back in straight away to the City starting 11. Obviously, with the mistake against Poland for England. Obviously, Diaz will play. He plays every week, every game pretty much. So it'll be interesting to see if he sticks in Laporte. Obviously, he doesn't. Mind-bogglingly, he's never made a cap for France.
yeah.
I mean, they would. That's just another debate. I mean, how they pick like Kurt Zuma and stuff like that over Laporte, it just blows my mind. But obviously, he's had a nice long rest during the international break. So whether he'll put him in over Stones, especially due to the mistake as well, and play Laporte and Diaz, or whether he does just throw Stones back in and play Stones Diaz.
I mean, he did
will
make
be
up for it
interesting.
with the assist, I suppose, at the end. He assisted Maguire with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
goal, like, so.
I think that's his thing this year. He hasn't really, like the past few years. If he has done that mistake, his head just drops and then he just looks nervous on the ball. So it was nice to not nice to see him make the mistake, but to make up at like the other ends and
Yeah,
obviously
nice to recovery type thing.
set Maguire up for the winner.
Cracking
But yeah,
finish,
it'll be interesting. It was to be fair to him. He gets a lot of stake, doesn't he? So
yeah, he nearly killed the keeper with that.
good finish. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see how City line up. I think you're going to know how that game's going to pan out. City a lot of possession, Leicester playing the counter attack. But obviously I will stick with the City win.
Yeah, I think City will take
Go
it.
3-1.
Yeah, it's not a
3-1
bad shot.
City.
I'm thinking 2-0. I think City might shut them out this time.
I mean, it's not a bad show. I'd say City's defence have been pretty good this year, hasn't it? So.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Well, the next game I've got after the Leicester City game is, it's on after the City game actually. It's Arsenal v Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool were on a bit of a torrid run before the international break, so it'll be interesting to see. Was it a break that they needed?
Yeah.
Can they come back now and kick on? What do you think? How do you feel Liverpool will take the rest of the season now? Do you think they can still get top 4? Or
I mean, they have to believe, don't they? They're 4 points off, but Everton have got a game in hand or something. If you're Liverpool, you just have to go nuts now for this last bit like, short of winning the Champions League, it's your only chance of getting back in it next year. So, and it's wild to think that historically, if you had Arsenal Liverpool on the weekend, bar like a derby like United City that weekend, it would be the game of the weekend. But now, I feel like I look at that game and I'm just like, it's like 10th versus 8th. Like, I've just got like there's no excitement for that game like there would have been in the past. So
definitely, and I mean Arsenal aren't the team that they were.
No,
I think it's an interesting game, but not a game where, like you said, like it was.
Yeah.
So, I'd probably go with a draw in that game.
Yeah, I could see that. I can honestly see Arsenal winning, to be honest. If Liverpool play the same way they did before the break and Arsenal stay how they were playing, I could see Arsenal taking it like 3-1, something like that.
Yeah, I feel as if it's more Liverpool's home form than the away form.
As has been the case for a lot of teams this season, I suppose.
Yeah, so I don't know. Arsenal are the team that can play well at home but not win.
Yeah.
So I know. Then you've obviously seen what they did against like West Ham and stuff like that, where they can just go 3-0 down like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I will go for a draw. I'm gonna go for like a 2-2.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with 3-1 Arsenal, I think.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, moving on from that, we spoke a lot about it before. It's Man United v Brighton. For me, there's probably only one winner in that, I think.
You'd like to hope so, wouldn't you? But you know what United are like. Just very inconsistent at times. I'd like to think that it can be a convincing win for United, but I'll wait and see the lineup, and that's when I'll start to get optimistic, because in the last couple of games he's just made some bad decisions. Like the Leicester game wasn't the game to rest Bruno Fernandes, even if you brought him on at half time. Like, he should have been on from the start, and like we yet to see like who comes out of the internationals with little knocks as well, because I did read that there was a bit of a knock on Bruno Fernandes, and he was complaining that the internationals are a bit packed together to fit them in. Like 3 games in a week is, but you're a professional footballer at the end of the day, and you're getting paid for it, so you got to stop moaning.
Yeah, and I think the games that I checked for Portugal, I don't think he's started, has he? So
no, I think he's come on every time, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's come off the bench, but I don't think he's had a start. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he has got like a knock, or so it'd be interesting to see if United just throw him straight in, and which would be interesting if he can't start for Portugal, then it'd be interesting to see why he'd start for United. But obviously they'll probably assess him when he comes back. But for me, obviously, is Rashford fit now? I know we didn't get played. So. No, we didn't get called up for England or anything, did he? So he's had a nice rest. Then you got Pogba, who's recently come back. Obviously Bruno, hopefully he's fit. I just think there's far too much firepower for Brighton. I know they're fighting for points really against like relegation, but like I said, I just think the quality will show like in the end, and with Bruno and Pogba and stuff like that, I think you'll obviously get the victory.
I hope so, and I'm going to be optimistic and say like a 3-0, but it's cautious optimism as always for me with United.
Yeah, I was wanting to say 3-0, but I'll go 2-0 instead. Make it a little bit interesting, eh?
Yeah.
I think you will score early. I think it'll be like you'll score early and then score like quite late on.
Yeah.
And win 2-0.
I feel like if we do score early, that's the chance to score goals, because then they have to attack.
Yeah. It'd be interesting as well, but as I say, they're fighting for points as well. So
yeah,
maybe I don't know. It could be interesting. but we'll see. United typically go a goal down and then start playing. So
That is true.
you never know. So, I think moving on from that, obviously we'll do another podcast next week to speak about like the Champions League and Europa League and stuff like that. So, I think that is, unless you've got anything else to add with the football, I think that's everything.
No,
for football, is it?
It's all the football I've got.
Cool. So we'll move on to the boxing. We'll start with there's a lot of noise about Dillian White's next opponent. It's been named that possibly it could be Deontay Wilder. And then obviously when AJ Fury have their 2 fights, that could be obviously the next challenger over whoever comes on top with those 2 fights, which could be interesting. White versus Wilder, I mean, both of them like to obviously go out there and look for the knockout, and I definitely couldn't see that going 12 rounds.
No, that can't go 12 rounds, not with them two. I have also read, though, that there is a possibility of him taking the trilogy with Povetkin, which I know his promoter doesn't want him to do. Like Eddie Hearn's just like, please don't do that. But there is a possibility of that.
Yeah, I think, because I think that Povetkin should retire, and I've seen that he's saying that he's not made his mind up whether he is going to carry on or not.
Yeah.
I think when you're in that mindset where you think to yourself,
Should I go?
I don't know whether should I? I think you should go. I think you need to be in it like 100, especially in like boxing or MMA or
sport,
I don't think you can be half in. I think you need to be all in or all out. So I think you should definitely retire. But for me, the White versus Wilder fight could be tasty.
Could be a fun one. I mean, it could be a one-hitter quitter, to be honest. The way them two go, one of them could charge out and catch the other one, and game over. But I'm more than happy to watch 2 people throw hands at each other with violent intentions. So that'd be a good one.
Maybe the press conference could be interesting as well, because both of them like to talk a lot as well, don't they? So
yeah, we could see some bottles thrown, some pushing and shoving and shit. And we never know though. Like a lot of the time, when you think one's going to be like that, they're just like dead nice to each other, aren't they? And they're just like, "Oh, it'd be an honour to fight you, sir." And like, "No, try and fight him now. You're doing it wrong." Another, just obviously you mentioned the AJ Fury thing. It's seemingly that the Fury camp confirmed that the fight would be in Saudi Arabia, but now Eddie Hearn's come out and said, we don't know what the Fury camp's on about, we still want the fight to be at Wembley. So, not sure what's going on there.
Maybe I don't know. Well, I know that the Fury side wasn't happy that AJ and Hearn broke the news about
the actual fight.
Them, they've signed the contracts now, because it was meant to be agreed that they'd do it at the same time. Maybe that's like a thing from Fury's side now to say, "Oh, we'll break the venue thing now because they broke the fight." Maybe something like that.
There could be a lot of them games going. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of Fury at the moment as well. He's looking lean.
Yeah. I was going to mention that. I've seen. Was it yes? I think I seen a picture of him yesterday or the day before.
Yeah,
and
he looked like the white shirt, looking. Real slim, like.
Yeah, he looked real good, to be fair. Especially because he said a few weeks ago that he wasn't training and he was drinking 10 pints a day. He looks very good for someone that drinking 10 pints a day.
Fuck, I need to get whatever beers he's drinking, to be honest.
I know,
Slim this motherfucker down.
But yeah, he looks in very good shape. Yeah. Obviously, you can't really look at AJ because AJ always looks in shape as well. But yeah, Fury is looking very, very, very lean. Maybe I'd love to know what his tactics is. Whether he goes in there like he tried to against Wilder and go at him, or is he going to go back to old Fury and try and boxing move? And
I could see that happening. To be honest, I could see like a Klitschko-esque performance. To be honest, that like they get when he fought Klitschko, just absolutely shut him down, just limit him to winging a punch every so often. Like I can see AJ getting frustrated and trying to chase him at some point, and him just boxing him off the back foot. So it's going to be a really interesting fight, to be honest. I kind of can't wait for it.
Yeah, hopefully they get everything sorted. I know they've said that they've got the money situation done.
Yeah,
I think they're going.
It's
Are they going 50-50 first?
And then the rematch is 60-40 to whoever won the first.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's incentive to win the fucking first fight, isn't it?
Exactly,
to get 60% of the next fight. So they've got the money situation sorted. You know, they've signed the contract. They've signed, obviously, the 2-fight deal. So it's literally just a date and venue, which, to be fair, shouldn't be fucking hard to sort out.
What I have read about the date is that it could potentially clash with the McGregor-Poirier 3 date that they have pending for the moment on the 10th. So that could be a wild day of sports if that's the thing, you know, like AJ Fury and McGregor-Poirier 3. Because they're obviously going to stack that card as well around that fight, so...
Yeah, they normally do, don't they? When it's McGregor anyway, they usually... Because they have to, really, don't they? Have to generate the fucking money, so...
Exactly, and you'd think that AJ Fury, that card's probably going to be stacked with some decent fights as well.
Should be, yeah. They should do like a Sky Sports v BT card.
Yeah.
That's what they should do. Literally through the whole card. That'd be ace. But yeah, I know that there's obviously another fight that's possibly been spoken about is Amir Khan and Kell Brook. They're both under the Eddie Hearn, under the same manager type of thing. So that shouldn't really be hard to do. That's been spoken about for years, though.
As well.
So
they're talking about doing it at Old Trafford. So you know,
possibly
there'll be a boxing ring behind my head at some point.
Yeah, it'd be interesting as well because this has been spoken about for like a good few years.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see if that actually gets done. But that's obviously another possible fight in the boxing world that could happen. But I think from that, it's been fairly quiet on the boxing scene, unless you've got anything else to add. Obviously.
I mean we had the Jake Paul and Ben Askren media day or whatever you want to call it, and the stare down. Not really much to report from that. You know, as cringy as you would expect. Jake Paul says he represents boxing now, so there's that, and they fight in like 2-3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Got 2 weeks in it, I think.
Yeah, I think
like 16th, 17th of April, isn't it?
I think it's the 17th.
It's about 2 weeks. Yeah, it's about 2 weeks away. I mean, moving on from that now, obviously, over to the UFC. Well, the confirmed news is probably what we've been speaking about for the past couple of podcasts, is that Paddy the Baddy's been confirmed by the UFC. There's no news on who he could possibly fight that I've seen.
No, I've not seen anything.
No, so that'll be interesting to see who they put him up against first. Yeah. How would you see him doing in the UFC?
Not great. I think I have a suspicion with how long it's taken him to get to the UFC. They're not just going to kill him off instantly. So I think they're going to give him like a young up and comer type of thing that they are fairly confident he can beat. I think he's going to have a similar journey that like Mickey Gall did when he come into the UFC. Like he might win his first couple of fights, but the second he fights a ranked opponent, it's going to show, I reckon.
Yeah, I've kind of got the same feeling about it, to be honest, as well. So I thought I was going to sneeze. Yeah, I think he will take the same road. I had a conversation with you, I think, when we was looking through the ranked opponents in his weight division, and it's hard to say he beats any of them, really.
Yeah, it's really hard to see him beating any of them, really.
So, yeah, I completely agree with what you've said. Maybe they take it slow with him, and give him a few unranked. Maybe try and
build him up,
get his skills better, and build him up and all that. But I don't see him beating any ranked opponent, to be honest. And I'd be very surprised if he did go out there and beat a ranked opponent. Let's say there's no news on who he is going to fight yet, so
it's not even
all speculation.
What weight class he's going to fight at, has it?
No, he tends to either fight at featherweight or lightweight.
Yeah.
Usually it's lightweight.
I don't like his
So
chance
that
at lightweight.
no, I'd say so. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he starts off as like McGregor did at featherweight.
Yeah.
Try and obviously get as high as possible in that division. I wouldn't go straight in at lightweight if I was him.
No. It depends
Because
how hard
that-
the cut is for him, I suppose.
Yeah, true. I don't like the opposition
No.
for him at lightweight. It's that division like at the moment is stacked. So I think it's going to be very hard for him, to be honest. Possibly moving on to one scouser to another. Downhill has officially pulled out of his fight with Vittori due to a broken collarbone. Holland, he confirmed that he's signed the contract now to fight Vittori, so it looks like that he's going to be the replacement.
Yeah.
I think this is twice. The last two fights has Till pulled out now.
I believe so, yeah. Like
I think he pulled out of his last fight as well, didn't he?
like a hand injury last time or something, was it? Like,
Yeah, something like that.
he's
Yeah,
getting injured
but
a lot close to fights, doesn't he?
yeah, it's getting, because he was one of them that was like, oh, I'll fight with like a broken fucking leg,
Yeah.
And now that his last two fights he's pulled out with injury, so it's interesting.
It is.
But there's just not a lot of, well, for me anyway, fight that's been confirmed now with like Holland and Vittori doesn't really do anything for me.
No, because this fight was like a title eliminator. Vittori's won like his last 4 or something, and he's fighting well. And obviously, with Adesanya saying if Till gets a victory, I want him next. It was like it was an interesting fight, but I don't see what fighting Holland does for Vittori other than like if he wins, obviously, then he's on a 5-fight win streak. But it's a lot to lose if he loses to Holland, and then I suppose for Holland he regains the hype that he lost by getting beat by Derek Brunson in like one of the most boring fights anyone's ever seen. So
I mean, it's a kind of Holland's got everything to gain and Vittori's got everything to lose.
basically, yeah.
It doesn't really make sense for me, but maybe he just wants to stay active and fight. So
Yeah, I mean, I respect that. He fought 5 times last year, and he's about to have fought what? He's going to fight 21 days after fighting his last one, which matches the record for Bisping and Davidson Figueiredo. So, setting records as well. He's getting his name out there, isn't he?
yeah, and I think Dana likes people that are willing to fight like often. So getting his good books as well, don't you? So
Yeah.
obviously moving on from that, we've got there was another fight that was confirmed, which could be interesting. Diaz versus Edwards.
Yeah. Did you know this is going to be the first ever non-main event 5-round fight as well?
Yeah, I've seen that. I think it could be a
Could be a fun
good
one.
fight as well.
Yeah.
It could be a very good fun one.
It does obviously mean that Vicente Luque's call out of Nate Diaz hasn't worked again. But
No, maybe
not bad to replace it by this.
no. I'll say maybe they don't see the
appeal of it.
the appeal of that. Yeah, I definitely would rather watch Diaz versus Edwards.
I don't know. I feel like
I would.
I feel like Edwards will try and take Diaz down a lot, and I think Diaz and Luque would have just fucking traded leather for 5 rounds until one of them fell over.
I don't know. I think Diaz is still very good on like the floor and stuff. So
I mean, yeah, Diaz is probably one of the best on the floor, but Edwards likes to dominate with that wrestling, doesn't he? So I know he's a good striker as well, but just look at the RDA fight. Like, he literally for 5 rounds just dominated him, like holding him against the cage, taking him down, stuff like that.
yeah, I don't see someone, unless obviously you've got like a Khabib or something like that. But I don't see anyone dominating Diaz just taking him down for 5 rounds and just holding him down. And
yeah, I mean, he's very dangerous on the floor.
And he'll just be speaking shit to you and throwing fucking elbows and slapping you across the face and
Slap
shit.
the bitch.
You know, I think he tries to just get in your head like you want to punch him in the face, you want to stand with him and try and knock him out.
Yeah.
So I'd say it could be fun.
True.
I'm certainly looking forward to it personally. There was another possible fight that could happen in the UFC as well, which again could be fun. Dominic Cruz versus Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, with the way Dominic Cruz moves, and obviously from what we saw from O'Malley in the last fight, it could be. I think that one could be quite a little like a tactical chess match type of thing. I don't feel like Cruz has got the power to kind of turn O'Malley off, which for me means O'Malley's just going to throw some of that wild shit at him. It's an interesting one. I think if O'Malley connects, he can rock him. Like, I mean, he's shown that he's got the power to hurt anyone really. So I probably would lean towards O'Malley in that fight. I do really like Dominic Cruz, but you know he's getting on a bit now, and people seem to have begun to work out like how he moves and stuff like that. I know like it's a self-taught thing that he taught himself to be like more elusive and stuff like that, but if we look back at like the Cody Garbrandt fight, Cody Garbrandt said he just watched loads of tape on him and his movement becomes, you know, predictable, and you know we all saw all of that when Cody Garbrandt like schooled him basically.
Yeah. I would if that's a bigger winner, I would definitely go with O'Malley.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. I'd like you said with like the foot move and like the way he moves. I think it'll be interesting to see how he deals with it.
Yeah.
As I don't think Cruz was that impressive in his last fight.
No,
either.
He was fighting a good guy in was it Casey Kenny that he fought?
Yeah.
He's not a bad fighter, but you know, like we saw how good O'Malley can be, like in that last fight, fighting a dangerous guy. If he's fighting someone that he doesn't feel like has the power to finish him, he's gonna take even more risks and get even more flashy with it. So again, it's a fight I would definitely watch if it happens. So
yeah, I mean, I would. That's, as I say, it's not been confirmed or anything. It is just a possible matchup that UFC have spoken about. But as I say, it could possibly be a fun fight to watch. I mean, apart from that, I don't think there's anything else that I've seen or heard of, unless you've got anything else.
There's no UFC this weekend, sadly, as well. So that's there's no UFC to watch this weekend. No boxing, just football. So you know, obviously, as we say, we're gonna get that City watch along on Saturday, live over on the Twitch, which is down in the description, as is the Twitter. And then the only other thing to say is like, comment and subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when the videos go live. And yeah, I guess we'll see you on Monday is the next one, isn't it?
Monday, yeah.
Sweet. Alright, thanks for watching guys, and
See ya.
bye.